comic fans all across the cosmos. John Barry here, yet again with an interview, this one being John Lustig. You might know John Lustig from Last Kiss, and he's also a writer of Disney Comics as well. Did the DuckTales, the movie adaptation, which I just found out about. So I'll probably end up getting that tonight. Anyway, go ahead.
Been at this for a long time. Yes, all the way back to DuckTales.
Yeah, way back. DuckTales, of course. By the way, Boom Studios coming out with new DuckTales soon, so stick around. Anyway, so John was kind enough to bring the Seattle weather with him from Seattle. So outside right now, it's cloudy, it's gloomy, and very windy. But inside, it's all bright smiles because John is here. Anyway, so you just went to Anaheim Comic-Con.
Right.
Which we just taped and shot. And how did that go for you? Pretty well.
It went pretty well. We did quite well. I thought it was kind of a slow con, not as much traffic as you would think for a mid-sized con, but we did okay. We did quite well, actually. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, we on our site, when we do the Meet the Staff, one of the things that we talk about is how we first got into comics and what comic really grabbed you and made you stay a fan of comics. So how'd you get into comics, and which particular one just grabbed you and made you stay in comics?
That's actually a hard question for me to answer, because literally can't remember a time when I wasn't reading comics. Before I could read, I was getting people to read the comics to me. I mean, I was pretty hardcore. Like everybody in my era, I read Archie and started out with the Disney. Unfortunately, didn't stay with Disney, but and I didn't come back to Disney until I was an adult, actually. I was in, like most boys, I was into the superhero comics, and I was first DC, and then I started seeing some Marvel comics, and I go, this is really weird stuff. I don't know. Then I bought like a Ditko Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Shows you how old I am. When it came out, and I got the very last issue, was it 48, 49 of Fantastic Four, during the first
the whole Galactus trilogy,
and then the next issue was it 50? This Man, This Monster, which was still like one of the great Fantastic Fours of all time, and so I was pretty hooked, very hooked by then. These days, I really don't read superhero comics very often. I really like Disney comics, but primarily because of Carl Barks. I'll give you try to give you a quick answer to why I love Disney comics. Is for years I've been hearing, oh, Disney comics are great. This is back in the 70s. And I would pick up an issue and I would go, eh. And none of the stuff I picked up was stuff by Carl Barks. And then I picked up a couple of Carl Barks Disney comics without knowing what they were at a garage sale, and was totally blown away, because it was like the Golden Helmet and Trick or Treat, two Donald Duck stories from the 40s. Might have gone into the 50s. And just I just couldn't. It was like one of the best comics I'd ever read. One of the best things I'd ever read, particularly the Golden Helmet. And I became a huge Barks fan. And then I was fortunate enough to write the Disney comics and meet Carl a number of times, and did. I don't see it here, but sort of did Carl's scripted Carl's last story. Based on a plot by Carl. we're actually redone this comic, but that's it's coming out in Denmark. I think sometime this year, taking it back to what Carl really wanted, because the first version got screwed up by the Bark Studio. But sorry, that's a long answer. Anyway, you don't need to ask me any more questions.
Well, no, I do. Anyway, we just lost. Sorry to be a bit of a downer. We just lost Dick Giordano.
Right.
And of course, was a huge influence on you with A Last Kiss, because some of his artwork, quite a bit of it, if I'm not mistaken, is in your stuff.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if that's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Dick was all the Last Kiss comics I did. I used Dick's art, rewritten with his permission. But Dick went through all the comics for me, all the old romance comics that I gave him, and identified different artists for me, and gave me stats from some of his old covers. And the second issue was the Dick Giordano issue, and he drew a new story for me. Widow Miss Muffet, the story of a little girl who wants to grow up to be a rich widow. And we had a lot of fun with that. In fact, I'm going to be running that on the web soon. But Dick was a great talent. The romance stuff was just a very small part of what he did. But he loved doing romance comics. He really didn't care that much about doing superhero comics, although that's what he's best known for.
It's funny because when you think of Dick Giordano, you think of definitely his DC stuff, and in fact, a lot of his artwork, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Dick Giordano, but way back in the day, I mean, I don't know if they do it now, but the licensing stuff that they used for, whatever reason, posters, T-shirts, whatever, a lot of that was Dick Giordano stuff.
Right.
Probably, in my opinion, one of my at least 15, if not one of the top 10 artists for me. I was always a big fan of his.
Right.
Loved his
great artist on
style.
his own. Possibly is certainly one of the top inkers of all time. Just tremendous talent. He's not as well known, I guess, to the current generation, but tremendous talent, and he was working, I think, pretty close to the end. Very nice guy. Really a sweetheart.
Well, I'm getting the wrap sign already. Wow, that went by fast today, folks. Anyway, though, I'd like to thank our guest today, John Lustig, for coming on out and doing a signing at Metropolis and doing this interview as well. So stay tuned next time, and that's it from Metropolis. Have a good night.
Good night.